What do you worry about when it comes to your finances? Well, we, over the years, have asked that question by reading to Americans a list of things that conceivably they could worry about. And for each one, we say, are you very or moderately or not at all worried about this issue, and so on and so forth. Let's look at the percent who tell us that they are very or moderately worried. And what comes to the top of the list, at least of these 8 items that we just recently asked, it is worry about having enough money for retirement. Isn't that interesting? 61% of Americans are very or moderately worried about having enough money for retirement. That's above worried about the cost of medical expenses that are serious, unexpected medical expenses, like from an accident. That's at 58. Then keeping up your standard of living, that drops to 51%. And the other 5 issues are all below 50%. Less than a majority say they worry about these issues, and that would be normal medical expenses, being able to pay your normal bills, paying for your kids' education at college, being able to pay your rent or mortgage, and finally being able to make the minimum payment on your credit card. Only 19% of Americans say they're very or moderately worried about that. Now, there are some interesting differences by age. Basically, as you look across the age differences, my conclusion is the biggest worry warts, so to speak, Americans who worry the most are in those middle ages between 30 and 64. Young people don't worry as much about any of these issues, and older people, 65 plus, don't either. It's the middle age groups, generally speaking, that are the most worried. Let me pick out a couple here that I think you'll find interesting. Look at this worry about retirement. Well, that's down to 43% from those who are 65 and over. Maybe that's surprisingly high. A lot of these people are retired, but some of them are still worried about having enough money in retirement, but still that's lower than anybody else. The percent of young people who are worried about retirement is 52%. That's under 30, but that jumps to 68 and then 72% among that crucial group between 50 and 64. Again, worried about retirement. The percent who are very or moderately worried about that is at its highest, over 70% among those 50 to 64. Naturally enough, that's that age group that would be on the cusp of retirement and therefore probably most focused on it. There's also a higher middle age worry, as you see there, about worrying about medical expenses. That's down among retired people, most of whom have Medicare. Same thing about maintaining your standard of living. That's higher among those who are 50 to 64. And the one that we get the most worry on among those 30 to 49, the only one, in fact, where they're the most worried is having enough money to pay for your education for your children. That zooms up to 59%. Again, worried about paying for college, lower among those who are 18 to 29, and particularly low among those who are 50 and up, and of course very, very low among those who are 65 and over, because they, for the most part, don't have kids that they're still waiting to pay for their college. So again, worrying about college really zooms up when you get to that 30 to 49 age bracket, and then it goes down. Other worries seem to take their place when we look at finances. So the bottom line here is retirement's a big deal, top worry. Our second bottom line is that worry about different elements varies depending on your age, but most people worry the most in those critical 30 to 64 year age group. When you're young and when you're old, hey, a little less likely to worry about any of these financial issues. That's an update for you. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Gallup Editor-in-Chief.